Hey there guys, I've been working on the ADFGX Cipher, and there's something I've noticed that I'm not sure if anybody has noticed before, and I found it pretty interesting. I thought if nobody has spotted this, I better share it just to see if it can help people along. So effectively, we all know, well, we should all know by now that there are 48 different unique texts that you could possibly have. A program that I was using created by Joe, wrong one, that's the one that I'm working on. One that was running from Joe effectively takes in all the different words and you find all the unique combinations. Shows you all these here. And then obviously you can decode using the key square to find all the unique outcomes. So obviously we've got all the 48 different outcomes in here. So I've just drag them over into a text document for now. And I noticed something. I mean, the pretty obvious thing that you can see to start off with is all of these here are Fs. Now, people have probably seen this before, so everyone's probably seen that there's a whole row of Fs. There's a whole row of Fs there. There's also a whole row of Fs here, as well as a whole row of As here. So, I mean, that's pretty common, pretty obvious, right? So let me just show you something that I did. So I came into Excel and I pasted them all in like so. Now obviously that's a lot to go through, so tried making it a little bit easier to see. Obviously we've got these here, which you've noticed before, I'm guessing. But there's another interesting pattern I don't think people have noticed yet. So let me just shrink all these down for a quick sec. So these are all 48 different outcomes from the keyword that we'd need. Unless for whatever reason the keyword doesn't follow the rules that it should follow, which is that it doesn't have doubles in it and things like that. But these are pretty much guaranteed the 48 different ones. So obviously here we've got all A's. Here we've got all F's, and we've got all F's there, and we've got all F's there. So most people have probably spotted that beforehand, and I didn't think much of it, to be fair. Well, I thought maybe it's where the word splits, so maybe we've got a word there, and then possibly a word here, and a two-letter word like is or on, and another word there, and another one here. But then I noticed something pretty peculiar. If you actually take this data and you sort it alphabetically, you start seeing more patterns. Now, what I'm going to do is just here on line halfway through, so like 24 on one side, 24 on the other side, I'm just going to insert a little break there and you're going to notice something. All of these are DGs. All of these are FGs. All of these are FGs, and then we get our FFs. Then we get our GFs, and more GFs, and it starts making another pattern. It actually starts making a pattern a little bit like this. Now I know it's a little bit complicated because I've added a lot of colours for certain things and stuff, but all these, as you can notice, are the same. And then as you go down the bottom, they're actually the opposites. So here you've got DGs, here you've got GDs. Then you got two, and the third one is FG, but the other one is GF. And then again you go across, two more, FG, GF, two more, FF, FF, two more, GF, and it repeats. So every second column is actually the same throughout the whole thing, just like so. So I was looking at that and I was wondering, what else could we do with that? Like, is there any other patterns? And as you can probably see here, there is a couple of patterns. I mean, obviously here we've got all F's on this side, all G's on that side, all F's on that side, all G's on that side, and then we've got the same, then we've got the same, and then we've got them with them, and then them reversed. So there's a pattern there. same as there's the exact same pattern. See, they're the same pattern, same pattern, same pattern, same pattern. So I started seeing these patterns appearing, and I didn't quite know what to do with them. I mean, there we've got another pattern, 4. These are DFs and these are FDs. So again, DFs, FDs. I tried keeping the colors kind of the same, so it does look a little confusing. You got your DGs here and you got your GDs there. So it's literally just switching them around. But you can notice that there's blocks of color that kind of match up with one another. Like there's patterns that emerge. So I was thinking maybe I'm just reading a little bit too much into all these patterns and things like that. So then I started playing around with it a little bit more, and that's where I got this. When you actually take these strings and you run them through one of the key squares that you can get, doesn't matter what key square you run it through, you end up with outputs. Now these are the first outputs, the first 48 outputs for the first key square, and then these are the first 48 outputs for the second key square. Something you can notice with that is again the same pattern. Here all starts off with I's, then they're all O's, then these are all O's, they're all N's, they're all S's, these are S's. But it's just a bit weird how no matter what the key square is, like here for instance you got NU, NU, okay, fair enough, but then you got something different, and then you got something the same, but something different, and then something different, and then something different again, something different again. So, you know, you've got a couple of things that match up, but these two strings are pretty much different throughout the entire thing, and yet these columns are the same in every single key square. It doesn't matter what it is. All of these are the same. And then for the other, like, this is obviously for 24, but for the other 24, again, all of these are the same. So I think it's a bit odd that every second column, or every third column, I should say, is the same throughout. I mean, this one here, that is ends all the way through. Like, no matter what, it's always ends. And this here is, again, always ends. And there's always ends. But here, you've either got an I or an R. Whereas here, you've got N, O, P, S, U, X, Y. And same in this one, you've got multiple different ones. But these are always the same. It just seems a little bit odd. So what I did was I took all these possible combinations, the first 24 combinations, and I brought them over here. And I took the second set of possible combinations, and I put them over here. But what I did was I removed these. So I removed the I's and the O's and these O's, and then these R's and the S's and the S's. And what you'll actually notice if you, it's a little bit hard to see because of the screen size and everything. Let me just move over a bit. What you'll notice here is we've got N-U-O-L-T, N-U-O-L-T, G-N-Z-H, G-N-Z-H. They are actually identical. Like, even though we have 48 possible key strings, which are, let me see if I can find them, which are all of these here, there's only actually 24 different combinations that come out if you remove the every third column, which is a bit weird. I mean, I don't know if people have an explanation for that. There probably is one, but it just, to me, it seems a little bit too peculiar, to say the least, because I would have thought that each key square would have generated 48 completely different outcomes. And when you look at them originally, like when you look at them this way, they all look pretty different. I mean, I can scroll through thousands and thousands of these, and they all look completely different. But in actual fact, even further down, let's go really far down. Even here, so we've got I, So there you go, there's a couple of I's. And then we go something different, but then O, 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 O. It doesn't matter what key square you use, it always does the same thing. So going back to the decoder program that I've got here, if we decode, that's not what I wanted to do, decode, find unique. So again, we've got R's. This is from the standard key square. We've got R's and we've got I's, followed by, what's that, an R and then an S? Yeah, RS, RS, RS. So if we just randomly generate a random key square and decode, you'll notice the same pattern. X's with D's, and after the X's you've got I, C, Z, 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 Z. So I'm wondering, like, it just seems a bit odd. Do you know what I mean? No matter what key square we use, out of all of these 48 possible answers, there are only 2 possible beginning letters, and then 2 possible third and sixth, I believe. So there's only 2 possible of them, there's only 2 possible of them, 2 possible of them, 2 possible of them. So could it be that, and this is going to be the horrible thing if it's true, could it be that it is double encrypted? And these are never changing throughout the rest of them because they're actually meant to be the same thing every time. Could it be that we're only meant to be focusing on the center ones? Because if so, we get things like unlog, which these start looking pretty promising. But then the other thing that springs to mind would be, because of the way it is, if you actually look at the letters that are used, I've taken this whole grid here, and I've calculated all the letters and how many times they appear. So B doesn't show up at all, E doesn't show up at all, F doesn't show up at all, J doesn't show up at all, V doesn't show up at all. And while these ones show up quite a bit, like the O's and the N's, that's because they're in these sections. There's the O's, there's the N's. So I've calculated how many O's and N's are in those, and it kind of evens out across the board slightly. Could it be that what we're meant to be doing is taking NU and making something out of it, and then OL, could this be, if we had the keyword and the key square, we would end up with something like POQNRR, which we would then also have to decrypt into something else? Or could it just be that we need the keyword, the key square, and we then have to ignore every second one in order to find the actual word, which could be something like unlock the gate to Agartha or something. Who knows? But I just thought it was a little bit of a strange thing that I don't think I've seen anybody post anything about this anywhere, really. And it may help lead to something, it might not. I mean, it could help with decrypting things, because obviously if we know that for a single key square there's only 2 possibilities for the first and second, for the first, and there's only 2 possibilities for the third, well, for the fourth, and 2 possibilities for the 7th, is that, I believe, then it might make decrypting a lot faster or easier, possibly. So I don't know. I'm curious to know what you guys think. So leave a comment down in the description with what you think. Send me a message if you've got any solutions or any answers, or if there is a valid reason to why this is doing what it's doing, because it might just be a really simple reason and I'm just completely missing the point. So yeah, let me know what you think, and hopefully I'll have some more news soon, guys.